everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar. This is Joey, Chapter Secretary from Premia TNC. Today, we are going to share with you all about Hong Kong company formations and maintenance. During our webinar, for any questions, you may drop your message on the chat box at the right-hand side. We will answer the questions in Q&A sessions at the end of today's webinars or share the relevant information afterward. And you can also click the live chat web button on the top to make an appointment with us for further discussions or consultation. Time for Hong Kong companies. In Hong Kong, there are several types of entities can be registered to start a new business here. Sole proprietorship. This type of business entity is for small-scale one-man type business only. Very simple to set up with lower profit tax rate. However, there is no protections of personal assets and its owner personal liability is unlimited. Partnership is established and co-owned by two or more people who join together to carry on the business with a will of sharing profits. Partnership enable a sharing of responsibility and a business to raise funds. However, it doesn't have a separate legal personality, so the partners are jointly and individually liable for the debt and liabilities of business. Private Company Limited. It is one where its members have limited liabilities for the debts of the company. A company can be limited by shares or by guarantee. Company limited by share is the most common type of companies in Hong Kong. The liability of the shareholders is limited to the capital originally invested. It is a separate legal entity and therefore protects the personal assets of shareholders from the business liability. There is no nationality requirement and no need to visit Hong Kong for company setup. The company formations can be done by online submissions or paper filing. Under company limited by guarantee, the liability of each member is limited and its article of associations to the amount which the members have undertaken to contribute to the company be wound up. Company limited by guarantee are usually formed for non-profit making purpose. It is unable to authorize the payment dividends or to distribute profits to its members. It is requiring to arrange annual audit and filing of any return, as well as other returns, as requested by other government office. Public limited company. It can offer its shares and debentures to the public, and its shares can be freely transferred. It can have more than 15 shareholders. It's easier to raise capitals and more likely to attract capital and investor. On the other hand, Hong Kong Public Limited Company raise funds from the public and are therefore subject to stricter rules and regulation. Company formation. In Hong Kong, the majority of companies are registered as company limited by share, and it is the most common type of entity used for small to medium-sized business or trading company in Hong Kong. So today, we will introduce to you the key facts and information about setting up this private limited by share. Company name. For the name of company, you can design your own name and the company can be incorporated with either an English name, a Chinese name, or both. Basically, a company name is not permitted and is identical to that an existing company. There are also restrictions on the use of certain words in relation to government body or licensed activity. Directors. Every private limited company must have at least one director who is a lecture person at least 18 years old. And there is no nationality requirement and no legal maximum for the members of directors. In addition, the sole shareholders can be appointed as directors of the company as well. A corporate can be also appointed as corporate directors of the company, but still there have at least one natural person and individual directors. Shareholders. The private company limited by shares must have at least one member and maximum 15 members. The shareholders can be an individual or a copy of any nationality. File is prohibiting any invitations to public to subscribe for any shares or debentures because of private company. Main files are directors and shareholders can be the same or different persons. 100% local or foreign shareholding is allowed. Company secretary. Every private limited company is required to appoint a company secretary. The company secretaries must be Hong Kong residents or bodies corporate having their registered address in Hong Kong. If a company has only one director, that person cannot also act as secretaries of the company. The company secretary is responsible for the company's compliance with its statutory duties. If you have no experienced staff or who handling the company secretary so issue, you may look for professional service provider. RO. A local Hong Kong address as registered address of Hong Kong company must have been provided to company registries. This address must be a physical address and must not be a PO box address. Company formations regarding bank account opening. Generally, the company will open bank account for business operations purpose after the company is incorporated. Here we will share the basic information when applying for the company bank account in Hong Kong. Please note, the standards and requirements may be a bit different and subject to each bank's policy. Basically, the banks will check all the corporate customers on their backgrounds about KYC, know your customer, and KYB, know your business. For KYC, they will travel with all directors, shareholders, and offer signatories requiring their identity documents and latest address proof, as well as the corporate documents such as certificate of incorporation, business registration certificate. Moreover, bank will require for business to understand KYB. If you have your own existing business, you may provide the latest business proof like invoice or contracts with shipping documents if you are doing trading business. In case the Hong Kong company is your first and new startup business, you can provide supporting documents explaining your relevant background, experience, and collections in the industry. In general, the whole procedures will take around 1 month, and exact time frame is subject to the bank's policy. If the bank requests additional information or document during the application's review, it may take longer time to complete. Here we have shared with you about the summary of Hong Kong Limited Company formation. So now we will move to the second part of today's webinar. Now we have our Senior Company Secretarial Managers, Irene, to share about Hong Kong company maintenance.
Hello everyone, and thank you, Joey. This is Irene. As the following, I would like to share the information about the general statutory filing requirement with you. In Hong Kong, the majority of companies are registered as company limited by shares, and a Hong Kong company is required to take care of the reporting and filing requirement for the company every year under the Company Ordinance and Inland Revenue Ordinance. According to the Company Ordinance, every Hong Kong limited company has to file the annual return regularly every year. The annual return is used to call Form NAR1, and this is a report to notice the CR of update information and company structure. Whether the company structure has changed or not during the years, this is required to file the annual return with the latest company structure within 42 days from the anniversary date. For the late filing, there will be a government penalty imposed on the company. If the company is dormant and has been delivered the notice with registrar, the company will be exempt to file the annual return with company registry. For change of the company particulars, should be reported in the specified form according to the relevant provision of the Company Ordinance. For any change in particulars information of director and company secretary, including the address, passport number or name, and etc., the company needs to submit the form named Notice of Change in Particulars of Company Secretary and Director to the CR within 15 days of the change. Moreover, the Notice of Change of Address of RO, this is required to deliver the registration within 15 days to report the change in RO address. Also, every officer of a company, including its director, company secretary, or manager, has the responsibility to ensure that the company has compliance with all the provisions of the Company Ordinance. For business registration certificate, the business operator may select for issue the certificate for valid for 1 year or 3 years. Regarding the renewal of BRC, the BR renewal demand note will be sent to the business address of the company before 1 month of the current BRC expire. The demand note will display the business address, business name, day of payment, and the valid period. The company should settle the payment with IRD within 14 days from the anniversary date in order to obtain the updated certificate. Also, the company should inform IRD of any change of the BR particulars, such as change of business address, change of nature of business, commencement of business, and etc. The BR fee amount may be adjusted by the Hong Kong government in different financial years, and it will be renewed on time to avoid any penalty. For the tax reporting, the company should get a first PTR within 18 months after the date of incorporation date, and each subsequent filing for the company will be covered 12 months and it will be filed annually. For the corporation, the profit tax rate for the first 2 million Hong Kong dollar of profit earned is 8.25%. If the profit earned above 2 million Hong Kong dollar by the company will be subject to the tax rate of 16.5%. For the first PTR, the company is required to arrange the filing within 3 months from the issuing date. For the subsequent filing will be depends on the year-end date. For example, the accounting year-end date between 1st of April to 30th of November, the filing deadline will be 2nd of May of the following years. If the accounting year-end date between 1st of December to 31st of December, the filing deadline will be 15 August of the following year. If the accounting year-end date between 1st January to 31st of March, the filing deadline will be 15 November on the same year. Therefore, the filing date of the PTR for each company will be different. At the same time, the PTR should be submitted with the supporting document such as the audit report. For the employer return, the company has an obligation to file the employer return to IRD of all employees annually, no matter the employees retain service in or outside Hong Kong. The employer should report all employees' personal particular with enumeration page to the employee in the relevant years of assessment. For the newly incorporated company, the employer will receive the employer return between 3 to 6 months after filing the first audit financial statement. In general, the employer return will be delivered to the company by IRD on the first working day of April every year. The company should report the return within 1 month after the issuing date. For the employer application, the employer has to maintain the payroll record of the employee and keep this record for at least 7 years. Keep the update in employee personal particular and inform IRD when have any change particulars or the terms of employment. Also, the employer tax obligation commences when you hire the first employee. Regarding the significant controller, on 1st of March 2018, the company registry has commenced amendment audience and introduced the new requirement on the keeping of significant controller by companies. This is to enhance the transparency of corporate beneficiary ownership in order to fulfill the Hong Kong's international obligation and require the company incorporate in Hong Kong to obtain and maintain up-to-date beneficiary ownership information by way of keeping the significant controller register. Under the new requirement of SCR, the company incorporated in Hong Kong is required to identify a person who has significant control over the company and to maintain the significant controller register to be accessible by law enforcement officer. Also, the major obligation of the company, including identifying significant controllers, allowing impression by law enforcement officer, giving a notice to significant controllers and others, updating information and entering particulars in the register. For the SCR, you may have a question: who is the significant controller of the company? A significant controller, including a registrable person who is a neutral person, a registrable legal entity which is a shareholder of the company, has significant control over the company. A person has significant control over a company if one or more of the following conditions are met, and generally, it will be depends on the person shareholding or whether have the right to exercise or significant influence or control over the company. Here you can see there have 5 nature of significant controllers. To maintain the proper information on the SCR, the company must keep its SCR in English or Chinese. Also, the information of requested particulars, dates of commencing a significant controller, and nature of control over the company of every significant controller of the company. The particulars should request of each significant controller's name and the registrable person corresponding address and passport number or ID card number and issuing country. Or the registrable legal entity, legal form, registration number, place of incorporation, and register office address. Update the register if any change of particulars, and the name and contact detail of at least one designated representative to provide assistance relating to the company SCR to the law enforcement officer. Regarding the AGM, Annual General Meeting. Under the company audience, a company must hold an AGM in respect of its financial years of the company instead of each calendar year. For the newly incorporated company, the company should hold the first AGM on 9 months after the first anniversary of the company incorporation, or 3 months after the end of that account reference period, whichever is later. For the ongoing company, the company should hold the AGM on 9 months after the end of its accounting reference period. For example, the company financial year end as at 31st of March, the AGM should hold not later than 31st of December. If the company financial year end as at 31st of December, the AGM should hold not later than 30 September of the following year. About the AGM, the company should send a notification of AGM schedule with all members at least 21 clear days. If the notice shorter than 21 clear days, must agree by all the members entitled to attend and vote at the meeting. Also, there are some situations exempt to hold an AGM on each financial year. Under the company audience, a company is not required to hold AGM if everything done by written resolution and the document are provided to all members of the company. Also, if the company is a only single member, this is not required to hold an AGM. For the company audience, also allow a company to dispense with the holding of AGM by written resolution or a resolution as a general meeting passed by all members. This is also exempt to dormant company from the requirement to hold the AGM.
This webinar can help you to have a better understanding of Hong Kong company formations and how to maintain the company in good standing. That's the end of today's presentations. Please feel free to contact us for any enquiries. Thank you for your time. We are Premia TNC and hope to see you again on next webinar. Bye bye.